We're going to talk about something very strange today, something that could be very dangerous for some of you out there. But before we get into it, I have to ask you to do me a favor. Please support us by liking this video, sharing it, and subscribing if you aren't already. That will really help us out. Thanks. Now on with the show. Have you ever heard of button eyes? This particular use of button eyes is often associated with voodoo and other forms of folk magic. By sticking two buttons onto the doll's face, the practitioner essentially creates a physical representation of the person's face, which allows them to focus their magical powers on that person. It's believed that by sticking pins into the doll, for example, the same amount of pain would be inflicted on the person that the doll represents. Some practitioners also place button eyes on other objects such as mirrors, photographs, or pieces of clothing. Take, for example, the Teddy Bear X, a horror movie prop created by artist and designer Mark Michelli. The Teddy Bear X is meant to be as creepy as possible, with its blank stare and gaping smile. The bear had been in the house at the time of the fire and was covered in soot. The girl's family claimed that after the fire, the teddy bear began to move on its own and even spoke to people. There are also numerous urban legends about teddy bears coming to life and attacking people. Glass eyes are specifically designed to be non-toxic and safe for children. If a child were to play with the teddy bear roughly, the button eyes could pop out and hit someone in the eye, causing serious injury. Even if the button eyes are firmly attached to the teddy bear, there is still a risk of injury if a child tries to remove them. Remember to support us. We love you. Bye. The force of the child's fingers could cause the button to hit someone else in the eye. On the other hand, button eyes can be made of a variety of materials, including metal, plastic, and glass. For young children, the risks associated with button eyes far outweigh any possible benefits. It is always best to err on the side of caution when it comes to children's safety. If you have young children in your home, it is probably best to avoid teddy bears with button eyes altogether. Instead, you can find plenty of other toys that are specifically designed for children and do not pose the same risks. Not all of these materials are safe for children, and some may even contain small amounts of lead or other toxic substances. Some people say that teddy bears with button eyes are particularly susceptible to this type of activity. They say that the button eyes allow the evil spirit to enter the teddy bear and control it. As a result, some people believe that it's best to avoid teddy bears with button eyes altogether. These stories are obviously not true, but they do serve to create a sense of unease around teddy bears that already appear to be creepy. In some cases, they may even place button eyes on themselves as a way of connecting with their own souls. The teddy bear in question was named Fluffles, and it was said to be cursed. According to the urban legend, the teddy bear was possessed by the spirit of a young girl who had been killed by her father. The teddy bear was passed down to the main character in the film and soon began to terrorize her. While the film itself is fictional, there have been cases of teddy bears being used as vessels for evil spirits in real life. The idea is that by placing button eyes on an object, one can trap the soul of a person inside of it. This can be done for a variety of reasons, such as revenge, to cause harm to the living person, or simply to keep the soul of the deceased person close by. No, I don't mean the kind that you can buy in a craft store that sew onto teddy bears. First and foremost, it's important to remember that button eyes are not toys. They're small, hard objects that can easily be mistaken for candy or other small treats. If a child were to put a button eye in their mouth and swallow it, it could cause serious injury or even death. Additionally, button eyes can come loose and fall out of the teddy bear, which can pose a choking hazard for young children. The loose button could also be mistaken for jewelry or other small accessories that are commonly found around the home. If a child were to put a button in their ear or nose, it could cause an infection or other serious complications. The reason behind this practice dates back hundreds of years. In movies and TV shows, voodoo dolls are often depicted as being used for evil purposes, such as causing harm to someone or putting a curse on them. Well, it could be for a number of reasons. Perhaps the teddy bear belonged to someone who had passed away and the person wanted to pay tribute to them by giving them button eyes. Or maybe the person simply thought that the teddy bear looked too creepy without eyes and wanted to make it look friendlier. Whatever the reason, it is important to remember that not all teddy bears with button eyes are necessarily connected to dark magic or the occult. But in reality, voodoo dolls are used for a variety of purposes, both positive and negative. The use of button eyes is just one small part of a much larger and more complex tradition. While many cultures around the world have their own unique beliefs and practices regarding the use of button eyes, there are some common reasons why people place them on certain objects. One of the most popular reasons is to represent the eyes as a way of giving life to an inanimate object. This practice has been around for centuries and can be found in many different cultures. For example, in some Native American tribes, it was believed that placing button eyes on dolls or other objects could bring them to life. The button eyes were seen as a way of capturing the spirit of a person or animal and placing it inside the object. Similarly, in some African cultures, button eyes are used in rituals to represent the spirits of ancestors. I'm talking about buttons used as eyes for voodoo dolls. In some cases, people believe that placing button eyes on an object can help to protect it from evil spirits or bad luck. This belief is often based on superstition and folklore, and it is not uncommon to find objects with button eyes in places where people believe that evil spirits are present. For example, some people place button eyes on mirrors to prevent evil spirits from entering their homes through the mirror. Others place them on doorways to ward off negative energy. And still, others place them on their belongings to protect them from theft or damage. If you've never heard of these before, prepare yourself because what we're about to tell you is pretty disturbing. For centuries, people have been placing button eyes on things like dolls, mannequins, and even teddy bears. Another reason why button eyes are used is for protection. And then there is the unsettling reason that some people use button eyes to represent the souls of those who have passed away. In the case of voodoo dolls, the button eyes are placed on the doll as a way of representing the person who the doll is supposed to represent. However, one thing that we need to make clear here is that these practices are often misunderstood and misrepresented in popular culture. But let's talk a little bit about teddy bear eyes now, shall we? Why would anyone want to put eyes on a teddy bear? That being said, there are some teddy bears out there that were specifically designed to be creepy. Some people say that the first teddy bear with button eyes was the teddy bear that accompanied the main character in the 1988 horror film Teddy. One famous case involved a teddy bear that was said to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl who had died in a house fire. Today, there are still people who believe that teddy bears can be used as vessels for evil spirits. But let us take a moment to examine some of the potential dangers of putting button eyes on a teddy bear. It is also important to remember that button eyes are not made of the same material as glass eyes. Finally, the most obvious danger of putting button eyes on a teddy bear is the risk of eye injury. So while putting button eyes on a teddy bear may seem like a fun and harmless prank, it is important to consider the potential dangers before doing so. Thanks for watching.